Guys, a very good evening to all of you and this is a special revision session जहाँ पे मैं बहुत सारे सवाल करने वाला हूँ, बहुत सारे references and along with that बहुत सारी guidance मिलने वाली है. So, you are prepared for your exam? Hardly 7-8 दिन रह गए हैं, इससे ज़्यादा समय नहीं है हमारे पास बहुत सारे concepts हैं. Today we are going to have multiple questions and I will tell you what should you read in the last 8 to 10 days. So आपको लास्ट में क्या पढ़ना है? As you can see here, modern library 100 best novels. Along with that, I will be taking you for some list of winners of Booker Awards. Then we'll be going for some Nobel awardees who are very important. Many students have asked me what to read in last 10 days. अब हम क्या पढ़ें? अंतिम समय आ गया सर. Last moment पे क्या पढ़ना चाहिए? तो first of all, when you are studying and this is the last day or maybe the last week or maybe the last 10 days, remember this thing, never try to read something new. If you have not read it, if you have no notes material on those things, so this is too late. Last में कोई नई चीज ढूंढना बहुत late होता है. But you can do this, that at least 80% time should be used for revision. If you can find out 2 hours special to find out something, looking for something or making some new notes, that can be done. In case, अगर आपके पास, if you have your own individual style of studying, that you can do. But my preparation, my own style was that whatever I have to read, whatever I have to search, I will just do it and last 15 days, I will be totally free preparing, reading, revising and mugging up. In short, I'll have to give my 100% to qualify. Last 10 days, it is not a time to make new notes. Last 10 days, it is not a time to read new things and have a lot of collection. But remember, if you have studied something, you do not remember it, you go to exam, you will miss it. So last 10 days, make sure you work on your memory. अपनी memory पे काम करना है, सबसे ज़्यादा जरूरी है. Now, as we are going for this session, I will be telling you most important books and I will tell you what kind of questions they can ask. There are chances हो सकता है session हमारा थोड़ा 1 घंटे से आगे तक चला जाए, तो make sure you remember that. And before I start talking about these books and I tell you all these things based on my own experience, I'll be giving you one announcement. There is an announcement I'm going to make. This announcement is that Raksha Bandhan is being celebrated. We have a lot of brothers and sisters who are preparing for this exam. So there are heavy discounts. After some meetings, we have decided to give heavy discounts on Google Drive course. Simply, what we provide in Google Drive course is offline batch class, detailed class, highly narrated class, where even if I'm teaching William Shakespeare, I'm not teaching story. I am teaching it from theoretical point of view, from critical point of view. So you will be having the access to join Google Drive class. आपको दिल्ली वाली, जी हाँ, दिल्ली वाली ऑफलाइन बैच की क्लास घर पे मिलेगी. रक्षाबंधन लास्ट डेट है. रक्षाबंधन तक आपको हैवी डिस्काउंट मिलेंगे. आप दिए हुए नंबरों पे कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं. Now let's go for these things. Make the session very effective. I believe you all can see this. आपको बोर्ड दिखाई दे रहा होगा. So let's take this side first. पहले ये साइड ले लेते हैं so that this is quite visible to all of you. Okay, here we go. Ulysses, the first one. Please remember, highly celebrated novel. Highly celebrated. James Joyce Ulysses is most important, one of the best work of moderns and also counted as a postmodern. 18 chapters, just like the copy. It looks like it is the copy of Odyssey. Homer's Odyssey, but a postmodern narrative. Current day, the postmodern techniques of temporal distortion, shifting narratives, oblique narration, ये आपके लिए बेहतरीन बुक है. If you read it, you will never understand the story because understanding the story is next level. बहुत tough है. It's not easy to read and understand. But then what to do? First of all, timing याद कर लो. Exam से related. Then characters. इसमें Leopold Bloom कौन है? Telemachus कौन है? Penelope कौन है? उनके क्या references हैं? And in 18 chapters, what is in the first chapter? What is in the last chapter? That will be a smart strategy. Last 10 days, I will not recommend you to read the story because even if you read complete book line by line, you will not understand it. So just go for a smart work. If you are not able to read something, smart work is publication. What does it want to say? what are the styles, what are the themes, who are the 4 to 5 important characters, शुरू के 4 से 5 important characters कौन से हैं, and if there is some opening scene, if there is some ending scene, so make sure you do that. Then comes the greatest classic of American literature. आज ही offline batch में इसकी मैंने बात की थी. We were talking about Leonardo DiCaprio, the hero who played the role of Mr. Gatsby. Today we were talking about this thing. We were talking about the readings and the visual representation on stage. The Great Gatsby is a must read. ये आपके लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, जरूरी है आपके लिए पढ़ना. इसको जरूर पढ़िएगा. इसमें इतना याद रखना, in the Great Gatsby, opening scene, Nick Carraway says New York was city of dreams. But in the end of the story, Nick Carraway says New York became haunted for me. Last question in NET exam from this book that was asked, they were careless people. Last question क्या आया था? The last question was, they were careless people. Who were these? Paper में question था. So they stands for the Tom Buchanan and Daisy Buchanan, the lover of Gatsby. Great Gatsby, Mr. Gatsby was in love with Daisy Buchanan. When Gatsby dies, Nick Carraway calls everyone to come and attend his funeral. But Tom Buchanan, Daisy Buchanan, they do not come. So Nick Carraway speaks the line, they were careless people. It is actually for Daisy and Tom Buchanan, Buchanan. Remember this point? Along with this, the narrator Nick Carraway that can be asked, and the role of Mr. Myers, an Indian. It was played by Amitabh Bachchan. So they can ask you who is the Indian underworld character, underworld Don, Indian Don in Great Gatsby, Mr. Myers. ये आपको याद करना है. One more question that has been asked in Gujarat set. Who gets killed by Daisy Buchanan? So आपको Myrtle का नाम याद रखना है. It is a number 2 list. Repeating once again. Modern day library, 100 best books. हम 100 best books की बात कर रहे हैं. So you're going to prepare for NET, you're going to qualify, and if you do not know 100 best books में से out of these great books, you're not prepared. So suggestions, go for it. Don't miss it. Then a portrait of the artist as a young man. Portrait of the artist as a young man, again by James Joyce. Yes, it is very important. They'll ask you, it is a one-day story. Question mein it has been asked, it is a one-day story. 16 June 1904. Options were given 16 April 1904, 16 May, 16 June, 16 July. So please remember, it is a one-day story. So first of all, yahi yaad rakhna, that one day is 16 June 1904. Now please remember, as I have already taught these things in my classes, 16 June is also called Bloom's Day. इसे Bloom's Day बोला जाता है. We call it Bloom's Day. 16 June is also called Bloom's Day. So please don't forget. Why? The lead character Leopold Bloom. But then it is not actually connected to Leopold Bloom only. James Joyce met his wife for the first time. It was his first date. James Joyce met his wife on 16 June 1904. Now 16 June is being celebrated as Bloom's Day. Follower of James Joyce celebrate Bloom's Day. Now you'll be surprised to know James Joyce was secretary of W.B. Yeats. James Joyce was secretary of W.B. Yeats. Samuel Beckett, the famous absurd dramatist, was secretary of James Joyce. And it is said James Joyce's daughter was very much interested in Samuel Beckett. And there is another story. If you know Lucky and Pozo in Waiting for Godot, Lucky and Pozo in Waiting for Godot. So Lucky and Pozo stands for two writers. A question of NET exam. Who is Lucky? Who is Pozo? They stand for James Joyce and Samuel Beckett in the story Waiting for Godot, written by Samuel Beckett. Don't forget this. बहुत important है. Then comes Lolita. बहुत अच्छे से पढ़ाया है. I have given you reference of Amitabh Bachchan, Nisha Kothari. The name of the movie was Nishabd. It is a story and the opening line is very important. Lolita, the fire of my heart and the fire of my loins. So first line में ही sexual reference है. There is a sexual reference in the first line only. It deals with the most sensational story. The sensational story of Professor Humbert and a 12-year girl, Dolores Hayes, who has been called Lolita. Who is Lolita? Dolores Hayes. Professor Humbert is a 45-year-old man in middle age, starts an affair with a very young, a kid, 12-year kid, 13-year kid. This was the most sensational work. It was banned. So don't forget Lolita. पढ़ना है, बहुत important है. Russian literature का world classic है. You don't have to miss this. It's very important. Professor Humbert, Dolores Hayes, Lolita. Humbert marries Lolita's mother to continue the affair, and the book is known for its very provocative sexual references. Banned books की list में है ये, but this is very important, don't forget. 100 best modern library, the rank is 4th. Then comes the another famous book, Brave New World. Shakespeare wrote a great comedy in 1611, Tempest. Tempest has a story which deals with Prospero and his daughter Miranda. Miranda, when she looks at the society and people, she says, "Oh, brave new world." The title has been asked. It is a repeated question. It is actually a repeated question of net exam. Brave New World title has been taken from. Title कहाँ से आया है? ठीक तो यही याद कर लो. Then publication 1932. Then it is a dystopia. So what do you mean by dystopia? And then it has a reference of a drink, soma. How society has been divided in 5 parts, alpha, beta and other categories, and people who live out of the society. Reference of Shakespeare, Shakespearean quotations. This is very important work. Don't forget this thing. This session is going to be very effective. Last moment, you will be knowing exactly what should you read. World के best novels, I'm going to tell you these things. So please read Brave New World. And what I'm suggesting, that's most important. So what my suggestions of title, dystopian things are actually based on PYQs. So PYQs में क्या-क्या question आ सकते हैं? How many types were there? What was the system of being happy? A drink, soma. These suggestions are based on PYQ. So don't forget this thing. The next one we have, there's the book 6th. Who doesn't read that book 6th? So friends, the title has been taken from William Shakespeare. The Sound and the Fury. Question of net exam, title taken from Macbeth. Act 5, Scene 5. Please write down this thing. Act 5, Scene 5. Life is nothing but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts. Tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. Life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Very important modern novel, and also deals with 4 narrators. They can ask you, who are the 4 narrators? So first thing you have to remember, it has 4 narrators, and out of those 4 narrators, the girl, Caddy, and the boy, Benji, their relationship is more important. So please don't forget this. बहुत important है. Don't forget this. Catch 22 is one of the finest postmodern novel, and all you have to remember is, what does this mean, title Catch 22? It is a situation. Then Squadron 252, there is a name, and the opening line, it deals with Air Force, some missing device, and some, conspiracy theories. But the opening line is, it was the love at first sight. Opening line, it was the love at first sight. Please don't forget this. And what is Catch 22? Situation. Complex situation. Then comes next book. Rest you can leave. Then you can leave. Darkness at Noon. Only title required. No need to read. Though it is a good book. It is a very good book. But right now, only title. No need to read. Darkness at Noon. No questions in net exam at all. So, the next one, Sons and Lovers. If you don't know Sons and Lovers, there'll be a trouble. So what they'll ask you, what is the name of the lady In Sons and Lovers, what is the name of the mother? So please remember that is Gertrude Morrell. Gertrude Morrell is an important character. The boy who is the lover? William and Paul. William dies, Paul becomes an important hero. So they are the sons, they are the lovers. So please remember the title. In assertion reason, they can ask you who are the sons, who are the lovers. Oedipus complex has been applied here. So ये भी आपको याद रखना है Oedipus complex क्या है? What is Oedipus complex? If you have read Hamlet, today I taught Hamlet in my Google Drive offline batch. Tomorrow in the same class, I will be teaching them Oedipus complex. Why Hamlet was wasting time instead of taking immediate revenge for his father's death. Hamlet himself wanted to get rid of his father. He used to see his father as a rival. So, son, mother, father. Son taking father as a rival for mother. What is this? Oedipus complex. Sigmund Freud says this thing that son takes father as a competition for mother. So maybe Hamlet was not angry actually and was not willing to take proper revenge. That's why Hamlet was wasting time. Father's ghost comes and says, take my revenge, but Hamlet is wasting time. This is what we say, that Hamlet himself wanted his father to be killed. The concept Oedipus complex beautifully applied in Sons and Lovers. दोनों लड़कियों के नाम नहीं भूलना यहाँ पे. There are important characters. Two girls are very important here. Miriam and Clara. Clara Dawes, sexually active, and Miriam, philosophical, religious, inactive, because they represent two different sides of female. So Clara Dawes, Miriam, and another character Baxter. Technically, what I want to say, it's a best work. So read a summary, remember the characters, it's very important. Then comes 1930s great classical work, The Grapes of Wrath. Well, you don't have to read Grapes of Wrath, पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है, लेकिन एक चीज आपको जरूर देखनी है. You don't have to read Grapes of Wrath, but just remember this thing, it deals with 1930s Great Depression. So they ask you the Great Depression novels. So John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath is very important. When I was preparing for my JRF, I read Mice and Man. Same writer, I went for another story. That's also important. Under the Volcano, Malcolm Lowry at the number of 11 once has been asked. एक बार title में आ चुका है. It actually deals with a volcano blast. There is a love story in the background of it. No need to read, but title is very important. The Way of All Flesh, 2 to 3 time questions. 2 to 3 time questions. The Way of All Flesh by Samuel Butler, and another book, Erewhon, which means nowhere. So technically, Erewhon is more important, but that is also a famous work. And both of these books are satire on Victorian artificial behaviors, Victorian moralities. It is a repeated question. Multiple questions have been asked. 2 times repeated question. The books which are actually satirizing Victorian moralities, Victorian ideals. So ये दोनों किताब Victorian space satire है. Way of All Flesh and Erewhon. Erewhon means nowhere, the right title. This is the most important story. It is actually a utopian kind of story. You should read Erewhon. Please remember, both of the books are satire on Victorians. Then comes 1984 by George Orwell. If you have not read this, if you do not remember this now, sorry to be blunt, but you're not prepared for exam. अगर आपने, and if you're in coaching classes, because if you're not in coaching class, I understand, you must not be knowing about this book, but if you're in coaching classes, and if your teachers have taught you this thing or told you this thing, world classic है, ये नहीं आया तो कुछ नहीं आया. So please don't forget this. Surprisingly banned book, 1984. It is number 1 book in top 21 surprisingly banned book, written in 1949. Title taken from his wife's poetry. End of century. End of century. Please remember this thing. 1949, end of century, his wife wrote a poetry. He took the title from here, reduced it to 1984. Please remember this point. It's very important work. ये published है 1949. This was his future. A new world. Thought police, thought crime, ministry of love, ministry of truth, ministry of fear. Lovers falling in love, but it is not allowed. This book is highly sensational. Must read hai. They have a new language called Newspeak. They are not allowed to fall in love. There are systems to read the mind of the people. A very sensational dystopia. It's very important. I teach this book in my lectures of cultural studies because this is the concept of big brother, big boss. It's taken from here. अगर ये नहीं पढ़ा है तो खतरे की घंटी बज रही है. पढ़ लो, अभी भी पढ़ लो. If you have not read that, I'll be very bloody frank. ये नहीं पढ़ा तो इसका मतलब कहीं तैयारी नहीं है. I Claudius title very important. छोड़ सकते हैं. To the Lighthouse. Please remember, people when they read Lighthouse, they just focus on the simple family, but they forget Lily Briscoe, most important character. So first thing, remember Lighthouse is in 3 different parts. The last part is Lighthouse itself and the famous character Lily Briscoe. It's very important. She is making a portrait. वो portrait बना रही है. It is a question of exam. Whose portrait she is making? किसकी photo बना रही हैं? So make sure you don't forget this. So the Lighthouse is a must-read book. 3 different parts में है. When family is there, children want to go to Lighthouse but they don't go. Then when they lose the women in their house, she is dead. Children have grown up. Father wants to take them to the Lighthouse. They plan to go but they are not having the same situation. It's a very important book. ये जरूर पढ़ना है. बहुत जरूरी है. Then, An American Tragedy by Theodore Dreiser. The story of Sandra, Roberta, and one more character, Clive or Griffin. Sandra, Roberta, and name of the boy. Find it out. बहुत important है. Have you seen a Bollywood movie, Khoon Bhari Maang, where Rekha goes to a river and then the villain throws her in the water. She drowns, but she returns actually because that's a Bollywood story. Here, An American Tragedy. Sandra, Roberta, and there is the name of the boy. I think Clive, Cliff, ऐसा कुछ नाम होता है. So that boy has an American dream. He has lived a good life. He wants to live a rich life. But then what happens? He has no money. He falls in love with a poor girl. Poor girl is pregnant. They are working together in the factory. One day, a rich girl comes in the factory. She starts flirting with him. And the boy thinks that he can actually get married to the rich girl and live his American dream. To marry the rich girl, he kills the poor girl to fulfill his American dream, which results in tragedy. There is a Hollywood movie on American Dream. You can watch it. No pain, no gain. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is hero. There are 2 other good heroes. Watch that movie, No Pain, No Gain, that deals with American dream turning into American tragedy. Then, this book can be ignored. The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, no questions. 18th number book, title only, dystopian book, title. Then comes the most important work, Invisible Man, Ralph Ellison. Sometimes students make a mistake. They think that this Invisible Man is written by H.G. Wells. H.G. Wells wrote Invisible Man. The name of the hero was Griffin. But here, the most important thing is this is dealing with racism, Afro-American work. And the question is, what is the name of the man in an Invisible Man? What is the name of the hero in Invisible Man? There is no name given. He says, what will you do knowing my name? I'm a black. Nobody knows me. Nobody counts me. So even if you see me, I'm not alive. That's Invisible Man. It's a must read. Jarur padhna hai. Then comes Richard Wright, Native Son. Next level world classic. If you did not read it, it means you never understood the literature. The character of Bigger Thomas and his ultimate suicide. are the most important themes. Chinua HB, reading this book, spoke that I myself have a bigger Thomas in me. A boy, black boy, a nigger, starts working as a driver for a white girl. That white girl lives alone with her grandmother who is blind. Now, that white girl goes for parties, clubs, and a lot of other things. This black driver, who is almost in the same age, he also wants to do party, he also wants to enjoy. But being a black, he's always kept away from these things. One day, the girl is in the party, she is drunk, not conscious enough to walk. He takes her back in the car, and when he's going to drop her to her chamber, as she is not able to climb the stairs, he takes her in the lap, and when he's trying to make her sleep in her bed, she hugs him, and eventually he also feels some urge to kiss her. He does that. He kisses her. The girl is drugged, and when he is there, it is the same time he hears somebody is walking. So he gets scared that maybe the grandmother is walking. She is coming here. So what if this girl says something, speaks something? So, and as she is making noise, he puts his hand on his mouth, on her mouth, to stop her from speaking. But unfortunately, he suffocates her. Unintentionally, unfortunately, he suffocates her. उसको मार देता है. Then he runs, goes to his girlfriend, thinks a lot what will happen, how this black person will be targeted, and having his own fears after struggling, running, trying to get rid of this, he kills himself. That is Bigger Thomas, native son. Must read है, world classics है. Don't forget this. Then Henderson, the Rain King, title बहुत important है. Saul Bellow is a Nobel awardee. Don't forget this thing. Appointment in Samara by John O'Hara. Titles are very important. USA, the War Novel by John Dos Passos. बहुत important है. Only title. Winsburg, Ohio. Last question, Uttarakhand set exam 4 to 5 years back. But title is very important. Then comes Passage to India. So you all know what to read in Passage to India. Dr. Aziz character, Professor Godbole, Adela Quest. What is Quest? What is Quest narrative? That is most important. Then the role of Mr. Fielding and how Mrs. Fielding, how she enters in the mosque, the interaction between Dr. Aziz and Mrs. Fielding, perception of Mr. Godbole for others. It's all very important with the last lines. When Mr. Fielding says, "Hi, Dr. Aziz, we are still friends," Dr. Aziz says, "No, not here, not under that sky." A question of NET exam. ये NET का question है, last line. No, not here, not under that sky. These lines have been spoken by. So please remember, Dr. Aziz speaks to Mr. Fielding. Then the story of Daisy Miller, The Wings of Dove. I think the girl's name is Daisy Miller, पूरा नाम है. Beautiful story by Henry James, but you can ignore it by title. No doubt story is great. Ambassadors. Kids go to France, they are not returning. Parents save money and send someone else to go to France and bring the kids. That person also goes to France and never returns. Beautiful story. Okay, now the second slide starts from here. Tender is the night. You can avoid it. You can leave it. The Studs, Lonigan Trilogy, you can leave it. The Good Soldier, title very important. Ford, Maddox Ford, इसका सिर्फ टाइटल याद रखना है. टाइटल have been asked. These kind of titles already have been asked. Animal Farm, very important. For Napoleon, Snowball, Two Pigs. There are some characters, Two Pigs. So it is a satire on Russian democracy and socialism. Two Pigs, Napoleon. Snowball, Two pigs. Benjamin. Benjamin is donkey. Boxer. Boxer is horse. This is very important. You have to read it. Animal form आपको पढ़ना है. Then the name of the owner of animal form, manor form, Mr. Manor. So it was actually manor form. Question of net exam. What was the first title of the form? So it became animal form later, but first it was manor form. Remember this thing. Then you can leave this one. Henry James only title. Sister Carrie, very important, picaresque style of novel. A girl fulfilling her American dream. She goes for multiple affairs, lives with a brother-in-law to survive in an American life. Sister Carrie is again a good book. A Handful of Dust. No, now they don't ask in-depth question, but it is also a war novel. Please remember, Evelyn Waugh, title very important. As I Lay Dying, William Faulkner, 16 narratives. 16 narrators हैं. Title has been taken from Odyssey, from Iliad. Don't forget this. Only title, no need to read. Another war novel, and also this man is also the member of literary theory, new criticism. Only title, no need to read. The Brigade of St. Louis, ignore, don't need to go for title. Howard's End. Remember the names of two families, Wilcox and Schlegels. Wilcox and Schlegels. And the motto of the story, only connect. When I was preparing for my first JRF, I did not leave any of these books. They have asked this question, what is the motto of the story? Howard's End, the motto of the story is only connect. So don't forget this thing, it's very important. Many of these online students and offline batch students are writing the answers. लगातार इनके answers आ रहे हैं. Please remember the title, Go Tell It to the Mountain, James Baldwin. It's a good book, Afro-American, only title. The Heart of the Matter, Major Scooby. Questions have been asked. It is important. आपको summarize करना है. Major Scooby commits suicide. That's a reason. It's a very important book. Lord of the Flies. Multiple questions have been asked. Ralph, Jack, Simon, Piggy. Opening scene, ending scene. Why the kids cry. It's very important. Who is Jesus Christ? It's very important. Must read. Don't forget this thing. Deliverance, you can ignore. A Dance to the Music of Time, collection of 11 novels, only title this much, no need to read. Title has been taken from The Painting of Nicholas Pozen. Title has been taken from a painting made by Nicholas Pozen. Painting से title लिया है. This is also a net question. Title कहाँ से लिया था? Only this much, no need to read. Point Counterpoint, only title, no need to read. The Sun Also Rises, Jake Barnes. Bullfighting scene. Lost Generation reference. This book is important. Hero Jake Barnes. Bullfighting scene. Scene of impotency, reference of war, and the Lost Generation reference. It's important. Secret Agent, only title. Nostromo, only title. No need to read. The Rainbow and Women in Love are sequels. So remember the names of two female characters. Ursula and Gudrun. रूपर्ट बर्किन भी आप याद कर सकते हो. उर्सुला एंड गडरन. नो नीड टू गो फॉर कंप्लीट स्टोरी. डील्स विद होमोसेक्सुअलिटी. ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैंसर, ओनली टाइटल. द नेकेड एंड डेड, ओनली टाइटल. नो नीड टू रीड. Portnoy's Complaint is highly obscene, sensational work by Philip Roth. They will not ask any question. Pale Fire, just one question has been asked. The title has been taken from. Title has been taken from. So title has been taken from Shakespeare. Title कहाँ से लिया है? William Shakespeare से. But right now missing the name of the book. Pale Fire कहाँ से लिया है? Anybody? I remember मैंने offline batch में लिखवाया है, but anybody who remembers? I missed it. मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा. Pale Fire. Timon of Athens से लिया है शायद. I missed it. See, कभी-कभी हमारी memory भी काम नहीं करती है. Okay, so these are 53. हाँ, इतना बोलने में जान निकल गई है. Okay, so what we do, cover it today. बाकी का सेशन कल करते हैं. I'll be taking the list from 54 to 100 and then I'll be telling you most important Booker Awards to be read for this exam, Nobel laureates for this exam. अभी एनर्जी डालने से बहुत ज्यादा हो गए. So we'll go for a second session and repeating once again. Google Drive course, रक्षाबंधन ऑफर हैवी डिस्काउंट दिए जा रहे हैं. कॉल करो, कंफर्म करो. You will not have to take basic online classes. Go for offline batch. Competition is rising. Every second person is becoming a teacher. So सब लोग basics पढ़ रहे हैं. You know my many students are teaching. So 70-80% content is same. Everybody because they are teaching them. So go for the offline batch. Beat the competition. 3 different category में net qualify होगा. First, second, third. Be in the first category, the JRF or the highest scorer. So don't forget to utilize this opportunity. The Google Drive batch with proper heavy discounts. Last date Raksha Bandhan. Rakhi will be the last date. Thank you so much.